So in today's video I want to talk about the OneUp family. This is a lineup of different handhelds that are based on a Raspberry Pi. In this video I just wanted to do a quick comparison between the system and are these worth your money. I did separate reviews of the system, so don't forget to check those out. I have one gigantic playlist of every handheld that I ever reviewed here on the channel. So let's talk about it and what are we going to get with the OneUp Pi based handhelds. Alright, so in short, what are we going to get? These are not DIY systems, or better said, that system you need to put together. They are already assembled, ready to go and ready to play. So basically what you can see, they are all based on the Raspberry Pi number 3. Maybe in the future they will give you these things with a Pi 4, but so far I know there's only the Pi number 3. So we're having different systems out there. This is the mini version, a very cute little handheld. So they are all having this transparent casing. And because of all the Pi 3, they are basically, if it comes to the performance, the same. So that's the question, which one will fit our need and which one will play the best. Again, this thing is very tiny and the edges on the casings are a little bit sticking in your hand. So that is not very convenient. But then is the question, is this a common problem with all of these systems? As you can see, what is very convenient with these systems, that they're having all the buttons that we're going to need. 2 on the top, 4 on the front, so basically this is just good enough for playing arcade games. But the displays, here is where we're going to get the biggest differences. Alright, so let's power on this bad boy too. And what you can see, that basically we're having 3 kind of formats. We're having the mini, we're having more, let's say, the Game Boy version, and we're having here the landscape. But I already noticed with all of these systems, as you can see, we're getting this little icon over here. They are disappearing sometimes, but they have a little bit of a voltage problem. All 3 of them. It's not something that is really concerning, but I did notice if you're getting this a very long time, it will, or better said, it can corrupt your system. But let's talk about the mini version. So the first thing that I find a little bit of a bummer, that this thing is not even in 60 FPS little LCD display. But it's also, let's say, a problem with these Pi based systems, that you need to have a little bit of a knowledge about Pi. So if you want to add games, if you want to know how you need to reconfigure something, you got quite some freedom if it comes to the Pi, but at the end you need to get some knowledge. Some are preset with, let's say, the emulators, but at the end you need to add the games yourself through the Wi-Fi, Ethernet, or just with a program. As you can see, with this version we can reach the Ethernet port, so that is very convenient. And what I think is really cool with these Pi-based systems is that when you're playing around with them, you can just use them like in handheld, or you can put them on the table, use the HDMI connection, and then we're having the way to use this thing like in game system. But if you look at the Landscape Edition, this thing is way better to play. It has a better image. If it comes to the display itself, it looks way better. We're having an analog stick that is more like the PS Vita, for example. So if you want to play with an analog stick, this plays very nice. The D-pad feels quite nice. It's an old school membrane D-pad. Feels nice but a little bit flimsy. We have even 4 shoulder buttons, so if you want to play PlayStation, for example, with this will not be any problems. So to be honest, I think the Landscape is a big improvement over the mini edition, if you look at the display and the functionality of the buttons. Okay, so let's take a close look at this bad boy. So this is the biggest handheld of the OneUp Pi family. As you can see, you're having 6 buttons at the front. They messed up the D-pad. It's exactly the same analog stick like the Landscape. We're having the select start over here. We're having 2 speakers at the front. I must say, they are not very well. There is no bass at all, and the mid and high is a little bit too much. So here at the back we're having even 4 shoulder buttons. So that's pretty nice. Of course, it has a way bigger battery. And again, it runs on the Pi number 3, maybe 4 in the future. So that's what you're going to get with this one. We're even having an audio jack, HDMI out, volume control over here. That is something you're missing out on both the other systems most of the time. Better said, there are a lot of, let's say, Pi-based systems that don't have a volume control. I did notice there is one USB connection over here that is basically reserved for the front control panel, but we're still having 3 left. So if you want to play, let's say, with 4 players, you shall need a little hop. But nevertheless, 2 player, this is not going to be any problem. So you can use this thing like, basically like in game system. So it's more like a 2-in-1. The display itself is in 60 FPS. It's a very nice, would not say high resolution, but for the standard if it comes to handheld, it's very cool. Okay, so let's do a little bit of demo so I can show you what I mean with the display itself. Still getting the little icon that is under voltage, so that's not good. Let's see if I can move around, but the D-pad is really flimsy. Oh man, this thing is sticking in my hands. The sharp edges. Alright, let's use the D-pad. But as you can see already with the display itself, it's really awful. And that's something that is really a shame of the little P machine. So I think that this thing is way better if you just use it like a game system. But yeah, I think you just buy this system for the 2-in-1 reasons. You can use it on the go and just plug it into the television. The sound itself is for this super little speaker not bad, but beefcake. Alright, so let's play an homebrew game, or let's say an old school DOS game. As you can see, it has a little bit bigger speaker over here. It's basically hidden. It's not the best position, to be honest. Alright, let's see. So the D-pad works a little bit better than the previous model. Okay, the analog stick doesn't work, so we need to use it. The D-pad. But the display itself is way better than the previous model. Still the edges are sticking in my fingers, really annoying. It's playable, to be honest, but if you look at the display, it's better. The D-pad, it's still not very functional. Oh, that hurts. But this is what you're going to get with this One-Up Landscape Edition. So last but not least, we are going to get the big boy, the One-Up Game Boy version. So the first thing I did notice with is that this little fan that's inside, it makes quite some noise. And the Pi is getting really hot with both of these systems. So that is something that is not very convenient. The display is way better. This is how the display should look like, and nothing less, to be honest. As you can see, we're still getting this underpowered voltage. All of these things struggle with it, so that means or the battery is not compatible or not good enough. So that's a little bit of a shame. Alright, so let's play a little bit of Doom. Analog stick doesn't work. I must say this plays a little bit better than the stupid D-pad on other things, because the D-pad were freaking flimsy. I really hate the 4 buttons, but and as you can already hear, the sound is way better. Of course, we're having 2 little speakers now, but this is not the experience you want to have with a Pi-based system, to be honest. Just wanna shoot. Alright, so this is what we're going to get with the big bad boy. I really hate the fan inside, by the way. Alright, so there you have it. This is the One-Up family. I just want to do a quick overview and a little bit side-by-side comparison so you know what you're going to get. I did full review, so don't forget to check out the gigantic playlist I have here on YouTube regarding handhelds. So I love how they are looking, but if you want to play for a very long time, I think they are not that comfortable. They are freaking expensive. They go around $150 at least. The little one, I think this is a waste of money, to be honest, simply because the screen is just poor, and that is the full experience of a handheld. Yeah, you can use it like a Raspberry Pi, but you can rather than grab yourself a Pi and slap them in the case. I think that is way cheaper to do so. The landscape, I love the model. The display is finally a little bit better, but the overall experience with the sound is not great. And this bad boy over here, I love it. It looks amazing, but if you look at what you can get for your money, there are way better options out there nowadays. So let me know what you think of this. I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell, and we'll see you in the next video.